Well, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, Frankie's got the weather we got. Wait a minute. Well, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, Frankie's got the weather, whether or not. There it is.
Hello, Prince George. Good evening, Winnipeg. I don't even know what time I'm on anymore in Kamloops. Hello, Rogers television viewers. I'm Filthy Joey only up here. I'm just back from working a wildfire today. I come in the door with all the news for you about the bad stuff going on in Canada with my team of Comedeorologists. This is the show about how much the weather sucks in Canada. I smell like charcoal, but you can't tell. You just have to look at my ugly face for the rest of the episode. In fact, just think of it this way. It covers so much of the ugly now. You can't even see it because of the black soot and charcoal. Okay, here we go. So we got the whole panel with us once again. The star of the show, Frankie McDonald, will be with us in about 90 seconds time. And we got meteorologist / geologist Mark Engels down in southern British Columbia. We're going to talk about the Chilcotin River blockage and what is known and unknown so far. We also have long time, one of the originals, Brandon Houck here. He is the original. Brandon Houck over in Brooks, Alberta. He's with us with all things Alberta. We got Hilding Donaldson up there in Grassy Plains, BC. Jenny Hagen in Saskatchewan. Karen Richards up in the Prince George. And I think Michael McGregor's even just walked in. So I think we got full cast. He's out there in Winnipeg. So this is your show about how much the weather sucks with all of us on CFR 88.7 FM, CKUW 95.9. CFBX 92.5, Rogers Television. Okay, here we go. Frankie McDonald, how you doing so far, buddy?
Frankie! I'm doing great so far. It's still really humid outside in Sydney, Nova Scotia. It started on Monday, it started on Sunday, and Monday it was really humid out. Then it got cooler air hitting right for me on Monday. On Monday night and Tuesday, it got cooler air heading for Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, PEI, Newfoundland. Then it got Tropical Storm Debbie going to develop in Florida. It's going to make its way to Florida right now. And it's going to bring really, really hot weather in Vancouver, British Columbia, Victoria, British Columbia, and things like this. Santiago, Chile is getting a lot of rain on Friday.
What
then
else
it got the fall will be starting up in Inuvik, Northwest Territories the second half of August. The leaves will be changing colors up in Dawson, Yukon, Fort McPherson, Northwest Territories, and Inuvik, Northwest Territories. Fall starts there in second half of August.
What else you got, Frankie?
Then it got really hot air. It's going to trigger a lot of fires in British Columbia. It's going to bring a whole lot of forest fires there. Really, really hot air. It's going to trigger a lot of fires in British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, and Alberta, things like this. It's going to bring extremely hot air. Then it got some rain heading for Alberta on Monday. It's going to bring really hot temperatures in Vancouver, British Columbia for the next couple weeks. In Vancouver, Victoria, it's going to bring extremely hot temperatures in Los Angeles and all the way up the interior of California, things like this. And lots of thunderstorms. And they had a derecho in Iowa back on Wednesday. They had severe weather in Des Moines, Iowa, things like this. And parts of Minnesota and Dakotas, they had hail in North Dakota. It was really bad there. They had thunderstorms with hail in North Dakota as well. Then it got cooler air heading for eastern Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, PEI, Newfoundland early next week. And comfortable air is making the comeback after the weekend, really high heat and humidity. Then it got Tropical Storm Debbie. It's going to stall off the coast of eastern United States. There's a possible going to hit Nova Scotia later on. And the weather for Central America, lots of rain, thunderstorms going on in Central America right now. Lots of rain, thunderstorms going on in Venezuela, parts of Colombia right now, in Panama. Then it's really, really dry in Brazil right now. Then you got lots of heavy rain heading for Santiago, Chile on Friday. Northern Chile is really dry right now. Heavy rain heading for Santiago, Chile. And it's really dry in Peru right now with chance of showers. Lots of snow up in the mountains in southern Chile. It's really cold in southern Chile right now. They got really cold temperatures in Falkland Islands, Ilusha, Argentina, and things like this. It's really hot and dry in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil right now. Lots of thunderstorms and rain going on in Colombia, parts of Bolivia, and things like this, and Ecuador and those places right now. And the weather all across Europe, there's some showers of rain forecast ahead. E. coli, it had a lot of bacteria in the rivers of Paris, France. It had rain in Paris earlier for the Olympics. And it got lots of warm air in England right now. Then it got lots of hot air for England. And it got really hot air in France on Monday coming up. It got really hot air. And it got some thunderstorms in northern Italy and Germany and Norway, Finland, Sweden, and lots of rain and forecast in those places. And rain and showers in the forecast next week in Norway, Finland, Sweden, and parts of Moscow, Russia, and Belarus, and those places, Latvia and Estonia, and those places. It's really dry in Greece and Turkey and Albania with chance of showers. It's really, really hot in Turkey right now. Lots of thunderstorms and rain going on in parts of China right now, in southern China right now. Then there's a possible typhoon heading for China and even North Korea later on next week. Possible. It's too far off yet. And lots of thunderstorms, quite a few thunderstorms and rain in Mongolia and humid temperatures, really hot temperatures in Mongolia right now. Siberia's lots of fires going on in Siberia. Had hail going on in western Russia. Got severe weather in Siberia. Hail and thunderstorms going on lately. Lots of rain thunderstorms going on in Philippines and places like in Singapore, Malaysia, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, Bangkok, Thailand, and in Bangladesh and Myanmar and Cambodia right now. Lots of rain and thunderstorms going on in India right now. It's monsoon season there right now. Lots of thunderstorms rain in India right now, including Mumbai, India, and Delhi, India. Lots of thunderstorms rain. This is their monsoon season. In another couple of months, monsoon season will be over in India. It's in parts of Pakistan. And Afghanistan is extremely hot, so is Iran, Iraq, Syria, Saudi Arabia, and all those places changing showers in the forecast. Lots of rain thunderstorms going on in Nigeria and Ghana right now. There could be some other, lots of tropical waves coming off of course Africa. So much sandstorms going to come off of course Sahara Desert still. Lots of tropical waves coming off of course Africa. It's hurricane season is going to ramp up in late August into September. The peak of the hurricane season September 10th. In South Africa. And it got some rain going on right now. And lots of dry weather in Botswana and Mozambique and Angola and Namibia, those places in southern Congo. It's really dry there. And then it got some cold temperatures heading for parts of South Africa. Sunday and Monday, possible snow in the forecast. It was a lot of snow in Victoria, Australia lately. In Victoria, Australia, the ski resorts, it got lots of snow in Australia lately. And it's really cold temperatures in southeastern Australia, like Victoria State of Victoria, Australia. And it's really cold in southeastern Australia. It's really hot in northern Australia. And the weather for New Zealand is really cold. New Zealand right now, it's their winter time. In New Zealand, it's really cold temperatures going on right now in New Zealand. And it's in showers in the forecast there right now. And Antarctica's 24-hour darkness still. But it's starting to go get daylight sometime in August and down below Antarctic Circle. Then it's starting to get some darkness up above the Arctic Circle. Then we first sunset up above the Arctic Circle there soon.
So good to see you, Frankie. What have you been doing this last 2 weeks? You've been dancing with the girls, going to karaoke?
Yes, and things like this. And I was dancing things like this. I was at the Rib Fest and things like this. And the other podcast, Trevor's Happy Hour, is off for 2 weeks as well.
That's right. I forgot about Sydney Rib Fest. That's still on till July 36th.
July 12th to July 14th, that already happened.
Okay. What was your favorite ribs?
I had chicken and ribs. And I had chicken and ribs and sausages there. At the Sydney Rotary Rib Fest, I was there. It was great.
Chicken and ribs and sausages. Anyone got questions for Frankie before we move on to Brandon Houck?
I have a question for Frankie.
Mark Ingalls.
Yeah.
Frankie, I saw that Hilding was eating an ice cream popsicle, and I just wanted to know, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream popsicle?
Cherry, the oat skirts, and vanilla in the interior.
That's a very good choice.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Any other questions
Frankie,
for Frankie?
what's your favorite drink at those karaoke places?
I like Pepsi. I like cola soda.
Nice.
Nice.
That's what I'll be drinking too, or iced tea for me, because I don't drink no booze no more.
The Brandon Houck Report.
Oh, hi. This is the Brandon Houck Report.
All right, well, we'll just run on to Brandon Houck real quick out there in Brooks, Alberta. And one question we got for you, Brandon. It's been a little while since all the big news of the Jasper fire happened, but things continue on, even though it's not the everyday stuff that happens afterwards. I mean, you probably have some details still that the general public doesn't know much about. So what's been going on there? And we'll take it off from where you want to go from there.
Okay, so I guess I'll start off before the Jasper fire because I had another busy week before the Jasper fire where I went on a little adventure. I went to that Wild Nickelback concert, which was really good, and then what else did I do? Oh yes, and I went to Banff and I went to Lake Louise and Field, BC, and went into BC territory for a couple of hours there. So that was pretty awesome on a nice tour there around the Rocky Mountains, and then came back to Brooks and we had our block party, and somebody called the cops on us at our block party. So that was awesome too. Yeah. And we ended up in the newspaper in the RCMP report. So that was the first week that we missed there. And then, then last week we had that significant wildfire in Jasper that moved in on the Monday there. And this wildfire, well, it was sparked by lightning in Jasper National Park. And Monday night, they had the evacuation. Well, we had the alert issued, and then it eventually went on into an evacuation order Monday, that Monday night just last week there. And I was because we were kind of short staffed in the northwestern side of the province. I got to be the guy who jumped on the radio airwaves there out of Hinton, out of our station in Hinton, which covers the Jasper National Park area there. And I got to do the evacuation that night for the very first time in my radio broadcasting career, which is now coming up to 10 years this weekend here. So yeah, so we got to evacuate the town of Jasper and the whole national park there, all the way to the Columbia ice fields there. And that night, that the evacuees were asked to go west back into BC. But then with the fires going on in BC as well, they all moved back into Alberta. So a lot of the evacuees ended up in Calgary or back up in Edmonton there as we go into this week. So that is the evacuation process of this major wildfire that occurred in Jasper National Park. Now, we had a couple. So the good news is the evacuation pretty much worked during this event because we got the evacuation out Monday night and into Tuesday morning, and that led for a couple of more days until the fire itself reached the community back on Wednesday of the last week there. And that would be, hold on, I gotta remember the date because I've already forgot the date of the 21st.
I have to remind myself that it's August 1st today.
Yeah, August 1st today. So that would be the 24th of July is when the fire moved into the town site there. And that is that shows that the evacuation worked. There was nobody else in the community once the fire reached 30% of the community there, at least got burnt down. The more so on the west side of the community. The rest of the community, pretty much from the center of town and eastbound, survived the fire itself. So that was Wednesday the 24th there. And and then eventually still out of control fire, but they did eventually get some rain after some very hot days that led to that fire that which was very intense. The fire activity as it moved into Jasper there, but still out of control fire. It lasts a couple of days. I think they're starting to get a handle on that. And they just, as of today, reopened the Highway 16 for more so commercial vehicles, etc. But no evacuees were allowed back as of yet. So
no, it'll be toxic there.
Oh, yes. So
And
that's one thing.
Did you hear about the Space Guy show's coming back on October 18th?
Ah, yes. October 18th. So once the fire happened, we went through all the I've been on a lot of radio stations the last couple of weeks with the fire updates and pretty much provincial wide coverage here, wall to wall coverage Thursday through Friday of last week. And then we decided, as of all the radio stations here in the province of Alberta. So even our competitor radio stations. So radio stations, some of these radio stations, we're not supposed to talk to these people, they're competitors and stuff. We all just decided, okay, let's all gain together or merge together here and do this fundraiser that we held back on Wednesday, which was yesterday. So this fundraiser that we had is a provincial-wide radio fundraiser with Alberta bottle depots all across the province of Alberta. And it was, we called it Alberta Day for Caring for Jasper. So we had pretty much all of the province here, most of the province here, donate their bottles into the bottle depots, all the bottle depots. And when they bring their bottles in, they say these are for Jasper there. And then we also did the text radio in all capital letters and to make a $10 donation or albertadayofcaring.com. And I think they're still accepting donations up until the 5th of August here. So we're still accepting donations from this bottle this bottle run here, Bottle Depot and such. And as of, we're still accessing the data, but at least $518,000, $482 was raised. And with the provincial, federal governments matching all of that, that made it over $1,555,446 that was raised. And we're still counting bottles and we're still accepting donations into next week. So next week, we'll probably have a full-on total on how much money was raised for the town of Jasper through this radiothon that we did on Wednesday for all the radio stations in the province. So over $1 million raised.
Good work, guys.
For the town of Jasper. Anything else? Yes, I was also at another event tonight at a Halo First Responders event before, so that's why I'm kind of late. Well, not really late, but I was almost going to be late because we had the Halo helicopter landing in the parking lot of the CRA, and that was really awesome to watch. And I was like, oh, right, I got to get going. So that was today. And then, now we'll talk about weather situation because I know I'm going well over my limit now, but weather situation for this weekend into early next week. So heat continues for the next couple of days here in the province of Alberta. And as we go into the weekend, we're going to start seeing things cool off a bit, and we're going to increase the thunderstorm chances. Now, we had a pretty good thunderstorm here a couple of days ago here in the province. And then yesterday, I also forgot yesterday's storm. I was on the radio covering this one too yesterday at Westlock. This storm was a powerhouse, and sadly, one person lost their life in this storm yesterday in a tent. This whole tent with 200 people collapsed yesterday outside of Westlock, and one person lost their life there yesterday as this storm.
Don't go under giant tents in a severe thunderstorm. Noted.
So that's one thing. So that storm was a powerhouse. It was moving at 90 to 100 kilometers an hour from Whiteport through Westlock into Cold Lake, Lac La Biche, Bonnyville areas. So it was a fast-moving storm. Winds gusted 110 kilometers an hour, along with Nichols Size Hill. So that was a powerhouse storm that rolled through parts of Alberta, north of Edmonton yesterday. And we're going to be watching the storm potential for the weekend here, especially, say, Saturday. We'll watch the foothills very closely. That foothills magic starting to spark up here as we get into the weekend, as we lose the heat. We get some cooler air working its way in. And I'm going to be focusing on Monday of next week for parts of southern Alberta for that potential for severe thunderstorms to make a abrupt return, and we'll get some much needed precipitation and some cooler air into next week in our areas. So
don't let animals out in the hail. Don't let cattle or livestock out in the hail.
That's right. That was the 10-minute Brandon Houck report.
That was a little bit long for a Brandon Houk report. We did have producer Imogen Bailey show up in the meantime, and we had also from Weather Center Manitoba, Justin Nordals here as well. So that's good. But we do want to quickly get to Mark because we got some serious things to talk about in British Columbia. So we got this Chilcotin River blockage. It's roughly 600 meters by 600 meters. It's now backed up at 200 cubic meters per second. The water's accumulating and backing up now 11 kilometers and growing above the blockage, which could conceivably have a catastrophic failure, which has happened many times in the geological record. And we got this narrow canyon. It's going to rush through, and we have a very serious and dangerous situation in British Columbia. So I do want to ask you about that, Mark. And I also want to talk about we're coming into higher indices, higher fine fuel moisture code, build-up index. And we got lower humidity coming to southern British Columbia. Now we got lightning storms. We don't seem to have a lot of precipitation coming with them. We got maybe a week of thunderstorms ahead. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so Brandon, I may rival you here on your 10 minutes. We'll see. Well,
these are two important topics. So
right. So now we switch the focus to British Columbia here and the Chilcotin River. So for those who don't know or are outside the province or whatever, the huge landslide dammed the Chilcotin River sometime either late July 30th or early July 31st. This is an area in the interior, like central British Columbia, about 100 kilometers west of Williams Lake. The river here is in a deep canyon. And so when Joey talks about this being the lake, the river's completely dammed and the lake extends upstream 11 kilometers now. And when Joey talks about that, we're not talking like shallow, out on some flats. This is in a deep canyon. And so it's 11 kilometers of deep water that is getting deeper. And he said the flow of that river is 200 meters per second, 200 cubic meters per second coming into the lake.
Which is fairly fast. There's a lot of bigger rivers in BC that don't have that flow rate.
Right, it's quite a bit of water, and I was looking at it earlier today. The Fraser River. This river is a tributary of the Fraser. The Fraser River, just downstream of there, the flow rate dropped by 13% as a result of this landslide. And so it is cut off. Of course, by the time the Fraser gets down to the lower mainland, there are other rivers that come in. But to that point in the Fraser River, this is at Big Bar Creek is where the gauge is at. 13% of the water flow has been cut off by the landslide. So this is a really big deal. The biggest concern, of course, is that this slide, which again, like it's huge, like it looks like somebody just took a hill and put it in the canyon. This slide, the biggest concern is that if it catastrophically fails, this is going to create a huge flooding situation on the Chilcotin downstream, and then the Fraser River downstream from the Chilcotin, all the way down to Hope. And the Fraser flows through deep canyons all the way down from, Prince George. Prince George isn't in the hazard area and Williams Lake isn't in the hazard area, but these are deep canyons that the river flows through. If this happens, we're going to have a lot of debris coming in, because since this landslide's basically a hill, like there are trees like alive on top of the landslide in the middle of the river, and so all that crap, all the dirt, all the trees, all the, who knows what is going to be in the river. So not only are we're going to be eroding the sides of the rivers, both the Chilcotin and the Fraser. We're going to probably have debris dam up in other locations and have secondary bursts. And this is a concern all the way down to Hope. And then in the lower mainland.
And destabilization that could lead to further slides in the future.
Well, right. And there's for sure going to be further slides at this landslide site, because even if it fails catastrophically, it's not going to completely clear that out, which means, dirt's going to keep going into there. And then in the lower mainland, we're mostly like, I don't think we're going to see any flooding and like overtopping of levees or anything, but in a catastrophic failure situation, the stream flow is going to be a lot higher. And they may have to shut down the port because of the amount of sediment coming down the river. The port terminals that are on the river. There are some that are on the strait there, and that would be an economic loss. And we're talking about people out of jobs. In Hope, we'd be talking about people losing their homes. And so the province has sent out emergency alerts both yesterday. We're doing this on August 1st. So the province has sent out emergency alerts both yesterday and today to cell phones in the vicinity of the hazard zone north of Hope, just to make people aware, because there's a lot of unknowns with this situation. It's in a very remote area that this landslide happened. There's not a whole lot of hope that human engineering can mitigate this problem because of the safety of engineers and other workers that would be out there. Because of
It'll slide more.
It'll slide more. So like you dig a hole, and if you're on a sandy beach and you dig, the hole kind of fills in as you do that, and you don't want to be on a backhoe, kind of tilting on a hummocky hill, and then you dig it out, and then your backhoe slides into the river. Like, that would be horrible.
Or it all lets go and people.
Right. But I do want to say, like, we've had the doom and gloom talk, but there are a lot of other scenarios that could happen that would not be a catastrophic failure. It's just that the risk of a catastrophic failure is high enough that it needs to be talked about. It is possible that this lake fills up, overtops the dam, and then slowly erodes it down. And that would cause a change in the stream flow, and there would be added sediment as it does that. But it could be that it erodes through this landslide over the course of years instead of over the course of 45 minutes. And that would be a very ideal situation. The problem with that is if it starts doing that, we're going to be concerned about a landslide threat until it's gone, because we just don't know. There's not a whole lot of data. And today, we're about 2 days post landslide now, and we just don't know very much about what's going on out there. The geology of this area, and Joey kind of alluded to this, and we talked about this in the pre-show. The geology of this area is such that these landslides are common in a geological sense, meaning like, it's not going to happen every year, but these landslides do happen and they do block these rivers. And this extends into Washington and Oregon as well.
And many times they've
and they burst, right? And 500 years ago, the Columbia River was completely dammed east of Portland because of a huge landslide. You were saying there was a landslide like this in 2004?
Yeah, there was in the province of BC. I don't have enough information to give you much on it, but that's the thing. Yeah, there was a slide that blocked the river, and there was a catastrophic failure, and it was not to the degree of this, but it was the most recent thing that can be looked at. And I don't think geotechnical is still maybe a day or two or three away from probably having a really good assessment on what is the long-term perspective of this. But then again, it could start letting go tomorrow. I don't think so, but I mean, in theory, right?
I think my guess would be, if it has a catastrophic failure, it's going to be when the water overtops the dam, and that'll probably still be a couple of days. And then it's also important to note that if this is not the only thing possible, there are a lot of things that could happen that are not a catastrophic failure. But if it happens, it would still take a day for that surge of water and debris to make it all the way to Hope.
Yeah.
And so people are going to have time to get out. Brandon talked about the very successful evacuation from Jasper, and this is what we'd be looking at too for Hope if it happened. But the geology of that area, I just want to touch on a little bit. So that canyon digs into some limestone and marble and sediment. These are all, and I just have a bachelor's degree in geology, so take it with a grain of salt, I guess. But these are all rock types that I would expect to be pretty weak, and that I would expect to form landslides like this over time. But this is also what makes me think that we're going to have repeated smaller events with this slide area as the debris gets washed away by the river.
Yeah, this could be an ongoing story for sure.
For years, right? Even in a catastrophic failure, we have a risk of re-damming the river again for years or decades to come. It's changing the entire shape of the river, and that's how these rivers got to where they are today. This is the world. The weather's always changing. Well, the earth is always changing too. This is just one of the hazards that we have living in a mountainous province.
Yeah, British Columbia is a geologically young place. We do have to keep moving. We do have to kind of keep moving because we got so many people here tonight.
Yes.
Just maybe we'll touch briefly on. There's 331 fires currently burning in British Columbia. Only 2 new ones in the last 24 hours, but that's going to start changing fast because we got a week of lightning coming to southern British Columbia. We got now 8 fires in note, so that's up from 2 because we know the heat pattern that's setting in down south. We know that some of these fires are going to take off. It's like we're going to get ahead of the game. So we got 8 fires in note now. So 75 being held, 124 to control, and 124 under control, and 304 started by lightning, 18 person, 9 unknown. That's the situation so far.
Yes, and the heat pattern, just quickly, ridge of high pressure is building over Utah that is optimally positioned to bring in southwestern flow into British Columbia, which means warm air from the southwest and enough moisture to create those thunderstorms in the Rockies.
Yeah, but not enough moisture to pound
to create rain. And I do want to touch one last thing about fire. In Walla Walla, Washington, a couple of weeks ago, a man burned his house down because he stuck his lighter in front of his can of wasp spray and tried to light a hornet nest on fire, and he burned his house to the ground doing it.
Yeah, I've done that, but it didn't burn my house down.
The hornets, did he get the nest?
I think he did, yeah.
Okay, if he took his own house out, at least he better have gotten the nest. Otherwise, it's just right off.
Yes.
So insurance should just write that off as an act of God because the nest was there.
Yes.
I don't, in my right mind, think that insurance would do that. But
instigated it clearly. He was just
Obviously.
providing a solution.
Right. He was protecting his life.
I would do the same thing if there were ants in my house.
I'd do the same thing if there was hippies. I mean, ants.
That's all I have.
Mark, we'll give you the go on who gets to go next. We got 2 weather center in Manitoba guys. We got over in Saskatchewan. We got Jenny. And we got Imogen showed up. We got Hilding Donaldson and Kara Richards in the northern
Let's hop over the straight to Imogen there.
Oh, cool. Hi. What'd I do? Oh,
well, you're a producer, so you get to decide.
Well, I would like to point out, Joey, if your house is infested with hippies, you don't need fire, but soap will do it. So,
soap suds. Fill the room with soap suds.
It is my plan immediately after this to pour a bath and get into it.
Right?
I can't really hide the fact that I've been working a wildfire right here in Wells, British Columbia, and like every other fire out there, there's a lot of hot spots still. We had a week or two of down weather, but we're still working.
Hey, Joey, you should use that as a new scent, smoke scent.
No,
attract women.
I doubt it. It wouldn't work. Nothing I can do work. So what do you got, Imogen? What's been going on in Victoria? How was the fantastic art farm party?
Well, it was pretty solid. We had a couple thousand people come out. We had the radio station broadcasting for 12 hours, so it was like they were there all day. We had an obscene amount of cake. We had a pallet of cake. It was delightful. That was, so good. And I cannot rave enough about the cake because when you think grocery store cake, you don't think anything good. But the bakers at Country Grocery here are the real bakers. So they do real baking. It's not just grocery store box mix kind of crapola. It's like, it was good. So much cake. But as the epilogue to the birthday party, we had a little follow-up celebration just the night before last where I was doing photos at Billy Idol and Platinum Blonde. So we were right front row and it was amazing. And even though he's like 100 years old, Billy Idol can still absolutely rock it. It was impressive. Didn't know what to expect. Rock stars get old. They don't always hold up, but yeah, he's on point. So
nice.
Right on.
Yeah, it was amazing. It's the 40-year anniversary of Rebel Yell, so they did the extended version of Rebel Yell and closed it off with White Wedding. So yeah, impressive show for sure. And just the perfect follow-up to the art farm party. So yay. And hot weather and wildfires. Why is half my backyard on fire? Because that's what we do in the summer. We just go, hey, this is all dry, so let's burn it. And then nature happens, and then we got fires.
You got drought situation, and the indices are pretty high in Vancouver Island right now, I noticed, for fire.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it gets hit and miss here, and right now it's hit for fire. So everything's flaming and everything's burning. We have weather warnings and advisories and stuff like that. And yeah, so that's fun.
What I did notice too about coastal forest types, and forest types that are generally wet, and you could even to say that about here in Wells, these spruce type forests here, but they all have this thing in common. They're used to being wet, and when they dry out, they
don't know what to do. Yeah,
they just burn, man.
A couple of years ago, we had just ridiculous amount of wildfires. Like a lot of people were not able to go outside because it was just so prevalent. And my roommate at the time had pretty bad asthma. So even being indoors with the windows closed, it was a problem. But what we did, like the real at-home cheap air purifier that you can do, buy a cheap furnace filter, $20, $25 at Home Depot or whatever, and put it behind. Everyone's got one of those big square fans. Put a furnace filter right behind it and just keep your doors and windows closed, and it'll clean up the air in your house. So here's my roommate with severe asthma. And after about a half hour of running this thing, it was breathable and he wasn't having to rely on the inhaler so much. So for, anyone in an area where that's a real issue or you're having breathing difficulty and, limited budget, buy a cheap furnace filter, put it behind your fan. It works. It's after 2 days, we had to switch it out. It was that bad, but it really pulled a lot of the particles out of the air, made it manageable.
That's an interesting tip.
Yeah. Cheap and easy and effective. Like your mom.
Nothing will get the smell of smoke out of this house right now.
And it should smell.
I'll tell you that. Let's bump over to Manitoba. We'll go with Justin and Mike. What's going on in Manitoba lately?
Well, I got something written up. I was going to share a video on here, but I can't seem to get it uploaded from my computer. But we got a really bad storm a few weeks ago, and I think Justin had his last storm in early July, and I had my last storm about 2 weeks ago. So I think I've been getting a bit more lucky here. It's been really hot and humid over the last couple of weeks. It was so hot last couple of days, I thought I literally stepped outside into a sauna. Like, my mom said that it's felt like Mexico for us the last few weeks, and I will take it because we don't get much summer here. We had a wicked storm a few weeks ago on, I think it was July 21st. Squall developed over the Manitoba inner lakes and pretty much enveloped all of Red River Valley from like Portugal Prairie to the White Shell. That storm was an absolute powerhouse. We had lightning strikes that sounded like explosions about 2 blocks from our house. And then we had another one roll, another 5 minutes later, we had like 5 explosive lightning strikes. I had never seen lightning that strong in my life before. And when it rolled over top of us, our house was shaking. We had lightning bolts coming with the whammy everywhere. I was even afraid to get the water plants out to get outside to get watered. So I'm thinking, and then on top of that, we had like forest fire smoke mixing in with the rain. So it smelled like we had fires that were burning out. When you put a fire out, you smell that fresh burnt stuff. That's what it smelled like to us.
That's what it smelled like.
It smelled like fresh plastic, almost like fresh burnt wood. It was weird because I guess the storm came in a northwest flow, so it was giving off that smoke from the fires in BC at the time. So we had a thunderstorm with that, and then it was kind of surprising because our power flickered a few times. Justin said that he's had storm deprivation syndrome, and he said it's not even winter yet. I feel bad for the guy. I've been taking all the storms. I don't know if you agree with me, Justin, but I had a look at the models. Storm chances are likely to increase over our area in the next few weeks. More in the way of cooler weather this week behind a cold front moving into southern Manitoba Saturday. It's been about 32 degrees here today, got up to about 40 with the humidex. And then tomorrow's going to be hot, 29, 30 degrees, and I see a cool down for later this week. Periodic chances for showers and thunderstorms. Then a southwest flow likely is coming up next weekend to next week. Bottom line, I think it's going to be calmer for us. I don't know about Justin, and I have some weather stats for Winnipeg. This is from Julian from, can I use stats from someone who had posted on Twitter. Is that allowed?
I don't think we can share Twitter.
There's a stats that someone posted for Winnipeg
You can just
storm
read
season.
them, though. That would be
Okay. Most humid since 1953. Second most humid. Most thunderstorm days since 1988, tying the days from 1977. Overnight lows tied 12th warmest since 1873. Third smokiest since 1953. Rainiest since 2009 at the airport, and the Forks was rainier in 2022. Number of thunderstorm days in Winnipeg was about, let's just see, 12 days. Our average is 6. So we got 6 more. And our lowest temperature was 8.3. So we're technically seeing a lot warmer temperatures. Our anomaly was 0.8, plus 0.8 for the month of July. Justin, do you want to take over?
Yeah, I just say hello, everyone. Good to see everyone once again after a couple weeks without a show, but nice to be back. And yeah, you mentioned the forest fire smoke a lot. We have had a lot of smoke the last week or two, but in the last couple of days, guys, I've been seeing more blue, and it's been less smoky, so that's good. Was able to see the northern lights last night north of Brandon. They were out. We've been having a lot of activity on the sun, solar flares, bringing ease towards our planet. So that was cool.
I saw your photos. They were absolutely incredible, Justin.
Yeah, thanks a lot. But so that's nice, and it's been easier to breathe with the skies not being smoky. But I think what we've been seeing is the total 360 from the start of this spring into early summer, where we had flooding rains, and we've seen so much rain that we'd never seen really in previous years in the spring, where tractors were getting stuck in the fields, and it was just they couldn't get the crops in. And now, last few weeks, there's been isolated storm cells, but no widespread. Had it earlier in the spring, so the grass is getting crispy, and the crops are apparently growing really quick, and they're starting to go to seed now, which is really fast because they haven't had the rain to kind of keep them growing. They've kind of already grown to as much as they're going to grow. And so there might be an early harvest here in our province, which is not good because they may not get as much yield for their crop. But we're hoping that we'll get some more rain soon. But I'm really not seeing it over the next 2 or 3 weeks. At least the temperatures are they're gonna get a little colder into early August. But I'm not really seeing an overall stormy weather pattern. So that's what I got for you guys right now.
Yeah, and I saw that there's reduced chances, but there's occasional chances for showers and storms. So I'm in agreement with you, Justin.
Yeah.
okay. Back to sorry. I thought
Thanks
I
for
had
having us on again, Joey. I forgot to mention it's good to see you again, man.
Thank you. It's good to be seen, everybody. Good to see you all as well.
What
Yeah,
about my
it's back.
videos? What about my videos? I did few of my weather forecasts.
Okay, we can get to that in a minute here, Frankie. Jenny's been really patient here waiting. Let's just talk to Jenny for a second, see what's going on, Jenny. And we also haven't heard from Hildy and Karen, so let's talk to them quick, and then we'll get a Frankie video or two up.
Well, not much is going on in Saskatchewan here. These last few weeks, our story's really been that smoke that's been pooling in, getting the secondhand smoke from Alberta and BC. I guess the new thing is the Public Safety Agency here in Saskatchewan launched a new web app for the Saskatchewan Evacuation app that is supposed to more or less make it easier and more safe while in evacuating in an emergency and being able to reach those emergency services. So it'd be interesting to see how well that app works. You don't really want to use it, but let's see how it pans out if we do have to use it.
Excellent. Karen, Hilding, talk to us about Northern BC.
All right, so it has been nasty lately with rain, like coming in waves. It's been horrible. Not sure what else to say about it. It's just, we need the rain so bad, and it has been coming. I wish I got better videos, but I was stuck at work when it hit me. Just, yeah, no, it's been good with the rain. Just, oh, we need some more sun now too.
We'll be getting a lot of that. We'll be getting a lot of
I don't
that.
want too much though. I don't want too much.
We might get too much.
I don't want too much.
It is trending that way for sure. Okay. Well, how about you, Hilding? We talked to you briefly. You had a little bit earlier pre-show. You had a little bit of a wildfire kicking off there in Tweedsmuir Park.
Yeah, I just noticed this afternoon, well, every day for the past 2 weeks, we've had a little shower of rain. We haven't been having the volumes that, like Karen talked about, they're starting to get in Prince George. We wished for more. Our hay just kind of stopped growing when that hot spell came, and it never really continued. So now that I'm out mowing again, I'm really mowing some dry, crispy stuff. But yeah, when I was out in the field today, there's a big plume of smoke coming off of Tweedsmuir Park. Again, I hope it's in Tweedsmuir Park. Didn't look like it was close enough to be on my side of the lake. Tweedsmuir Park is across Utsa Lake from us, and it's a park, so they just let it grow, let the fire go. So
yeah, it's remote. It would take a lot of resources to deal with it for something that's just going to naturally do what it does anyways over time.
Can I ask a question, Joey?
Yes. The phone just keeps dinging and it's driving me crazy.
I want to ask a question. So, like, for me, Tweedsmuir Park is down in Surrey, but where are you?
Tweedsmuir Park that he's at. That's over. It's this giant park that goes from the Chilcotin up all the way, south of Smithers along the Francois Lake. Right, Holding? More or less.
It runs from about 60 kilometers west of Quesnel, the whole way out to the coast.
No, it's further west of Quesnel than that.
Yeah, it's
much further west.
It's
on the highway out to Bella Coola.
As I was working still like 140 kilometers or 140 kilometers out, and you're still not there. Yeah, it's a long ways, but it comes down to Bella Coola for sure. When you're crossing down into Bella Coola, welcome to Tweedsmuir Park.
But where we see it, right in the center of Tweedsmuir Park, there's a big ridge of mountains that we see just real clear from where I live. But we're across Utsa Lake to the north of that. So what we see in Tweedsmuir Park is a kind of a puddle of mountains that's in between all the other ranges. It's like we're on a high plateau. There's coastal mountains to the west of us, and then to the south of us is just this little puddle of mountains called Tweedsmuir Park. And we see those mountains directly. And so when we see a fire over there, it's like only 30 or 40 kilometers straight south of us where the fire is happening right now, which is a little bit concerning because sparks can fly into our area.
But for the most part, it's out there. And over the years, I've been working out, by, the Hunter Road and the Cluskis and places like that. And, looking over there from Kenny Dam, like, that'd be fun to go see that because it's torching column out in the distance, right? But, no, it's just, we'll let that one go. There's enough things to actually protect that we have to have some areas that we just let be wilderness and do what wilderness does. Yeah, and they've always kind of just been trapped by their water out there and their topography. Let's watch Frankie video too. How does everyone feel about that?
Great.
Is it okay if I ask Hilding a question? Can I ask Hilding a question quick?
Yeah.
Is this your first wildfire that you've had in your part of BC, or is this one that's have you experienced it before, Hilding?
Oh, we had wildfires in 2018 where everybody was evacuated for months. We've seen wildfires just about every year that I've been here, but this is like the most concerning one I've seen this summer, which is a nice change for us because we usually see too many fires. Yeah,
exactly. Like I was saying, we look over that direction often when we're working, not near Hilding, but kind of in that region. We look over and we can see those big columns out in Tweedsmuir. We're like, wow, wouldn't that be cool to go see? That's
good. That's good, Hilding.
We like to see it, you know. It's just, and wouldn't you want your firefighters to want to see it? It's like, if you don't want to see it, maybe you shouldn't be out there, you know.
It's not meant for you. If you not meant for you, don't go firefighting. All right.
This is Frankie McDowell, my own TV station live. It's Indian.
We're just gonna start over because
This is Frankie McDowell, my own TV station live. It's Indian, Nova Scotia. Heavy rains headed towards Santiago, Chile on Friday, August 2nd, 2024. It's going to bring a lot of rain, and it's going to bring a lot of flood. It's going to bring puddles on the streets and freeways in Santiago, Chile and surrounding areas. It's going to bring a whole lot of rain in Santiago, Chile. I urge everyone to wear your rain gear, rubber boots, raincoats to keep it dry. Don't drive through the puddles. Avoid the puddles when you're driving the car. When you go for a walk, don't walk through the puddles either, because it's going to bring a whole lot of heavy rain starting on Thursday, August 1st during the evening hours. It will continue on to Friday, August 2nd, 2024 during daytime in Santiago, Chile and surrounding areas. I want every single person in Santiago, Chile to be extra prepared. It's going to bring heavy downpours. A lot of rain is going to happen in Santiago, Chile on Friday, August 2nd, 2024. If you have anybody living in Santiago, Chile, be prepared for heavy rain on Friday, August 2nd, 2024. Take care, safe. And don't get caught in heavy rain. Stay dry and be safe. Hey everybody, here's a copy of my book, Be Prepared to Find Out Guide to Life, Weather, and Everything. It's a great book. It has 48 pages. It has lots of pictures of me when I was a kid and things like this. This is a copy of my book I have in my hand as of right now. People can order them on Amazon website. It's a great book. It has pictures of myself and pictures of myself when I was a kid. It talks about the history of Frankie McDowell and my weather reports and things like this. About autobiography about me and things like this. And talks about the history of Frankie McDowell and things like this. This is a copy of my book, Be Prepared to Find Out Guide to Life, Weather, and Everything. It's a great book. And copy of my book is Be Prepared to Find Out Guide to Life, Weather, and Everything. It's a really great book at all times. I'm holding a copy of my book in my hand as of right now. I'm an author of a book, Be Prepared to Find Out Guide to Life, Weather, and Everything, from Frank Down. This is Frankie McDowell, my own TV station live in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Severe thunderstorms which Rachel is headed towards Iowa on Wednesday, July 31st, 2024. It's going to bring a lot of thunderstorms. The winds are going to be really strong. That can damage buildings and knock down power lines and snap tree branches half in Iowa, including Fort Dodge, Iowa, and Webster City, Iowa, including Des Moines, Iowa, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and the surrounding areas. It's going to bring lots of rain and thunderstorms in the forecast. It's going to bring sewers to back up streets. That could cause a lot of flooding in Iowa, especially in Fort Dodge, Iowa, and Des Moines, Iowa, and including Webster City, Iowa as well. It's going to bring a lot of heavy rain, and winds are going to be really strong in Iowa as well. It's going to bring damaging winds that can damage buildings and things like this somewhere in Iowa as well. There'll be a lot of strong thunderstorm cells up in the sky, especially on Wednesday evening as well. People in Iowa, be prepared. Have your rubber boots, raincoats, and raincoats ready when you go outside. Wear your rain gear, wear your rubber boots, wear your raincoats to keep you dry. Make sure you have your smartphones and laptops and tablets charged, and have your mobile internet ready as well. When a severe thunderstorm happens in the area, plug your TVs, computers, stereos, and gaming consoles so you don't get a power surge. Make sure to stay away from the open fields such as golf courses and underneath the trees so you don't get struck by lightning. When a severe thunderstorm happens, get inside your house so you can be safe. If you have anybody living in Iowa, be prepared for severe thunderstorms on Wednesday, July 31st, 2024, including Rachel. Take care, stay safe. Don't get caught in severe thunderstorms. Stay dry, be safe.
Did you get your forecast right about yesterday's derecho?
Yeah. And I was just checking on the radar last night on my smartphone. It headed towards derecho, headed towards Des Moines with heavy rain and other countryside parts of Iowa.
Can I pop in real quick?
Yeah.
So that derecho hit Omaha, which is in Nebraska, but on the Iowa state line. They had a 160 kilometer an hour wind gusts. That was straight line winds, not tornado winds. And Omaha's a city of about 1 million people or so. And there were 220 something thousand power customers in the dark this morning. And of course, power customers is not the same as people. So like, probably something like half the city was without power this morning.
And you're like, there's regular customers, but then there's power customers.
Well, I am in the energy industry. I lived in Omaha for a year and a half, actually. It's a place.
Yeah, it exists.
Mark, do you think that storm may have had an incredible shelf flood ahead of it?
I don't know. It came in the night, I'm pretty sure. So like, if there was a shelf, nobody would have seen it.
You would have been getting dust in your eyes.
Right?
Can't see anything.
From all the cornfields in the west.
Yeah, getting
Go Huskers.
Corn sticking into the side of your house.
That's funny.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty strange event.
Speaking of things getting stuck, I saw Twisters on Monday. It was absolutely incredible. And if anybody hasn't seen it yet, go and see it. It's definitely on my bucket list movies to see again.
Can't wait. So that's the show for this week, I guess. We got a wildfire situation ramping back up in British Columbia, lightning coming to the south, a lot of it. And we got this blockage in the Chilcotin River. We got 11 kilometers of water now backing up this new lake. And we've got the potential for catastrophic failure. We don't know whether we'll do that or not yet, but that is a serious concern that the province is definitely looking at. So the big news stories in British Columbia this week and beyond, right? So this is your show. Thank you.
It's a rough time to be an emergency manager in BC, I think.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's everything all at once.
Especially in the Caribou, because all this crap is happening in the Caribou.
Yeah, well, things have been getting better here for fires, it's kind of. The weather had everything down, but the southeast hasn't had much of a break at all, and their fires have been running hard. So you have multiple regions that are, then plus you got down the Thompson River, you got this really bad fire, the Shetland Creek fire, with lots of evacuations there. So, this isn't the typical summer we've had certainly crazier wildfire seasons than this year. It's had some moments and some extreme fire behavior. We're coming back into a period where we could see some of that if some of these fires wake up. But it's these indices are going to dry out fast.
Yes, and we've had smoke here from fires up by Victoria. So it was nice when it rained and kind of washed that out for a little bit.
So she wasn't just making that up, eh?
No. We've been breathing the remains of Imogen's house.
Yep. All the ghosts are just neutralized. That's how you get rid of ghosts.
Yes. Yeah. In Walla Walla, it's hornets, and in Victoria, it's ghosts.
Whenever it's coming from the island, it's like I just have a sniff to see, is it like wildfire smoke or is it... Anyways.
The smell of BC.
The morning it rained, it smelled like drowned campfire.
That's BC.
Yeah.
That's what it smelt like in Manitoba with the humidity.
That's what my breath smells like.
Oh dear Lord.
I was like, I'm particularly dirty today because there's like this out in the cut block and it's just green and forest beyond that. And here's like this random stump that's super hot and then you're digging underneath it further and further and further until I like pulled out I have this little hand tool. It's like,
and if you want to follow my social media, my Blue Sky's at Frankie MacD, my Twitter's at Frankie MacD, my Linktree is Frankie MacDonald, my Facebook is Frankie MacDonald, my Instagram is Frankie MacD194, my TikTok is FrankDonald194, my Clapper is FrankDonald194, my Twitch is FrankDonald194, my Snapchat is Frankie MBCDY, my YouTube channel is Dogs Wolves, and my LinkedIn is Frankie Donald. Best luck to you. I'm Frankie Donald. You're listening to Comedeorological Weather Report every Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Atlantic.
And he is right. So anyways, I was burrowing like a groundhog underneath this thing to get every last little bit out at the groundhog fire. It was a very, very suitable. It was one of those rare times I've been real deep. It wasn't real deep. No, I've been much deeper. Chasing us. Anyways, that's the show. That was Frankie MacDonald. He's out there in Sydney, Nova Scotia. We had Imogen Cookie Bailey, producer down there in Victoria. We had Michael McGregor and Justin Ordle from the Weather Center of Manitoba. We had Hilding Donaldson and Karen Richards from Northern British Columbia. We got Brandon Houck out, the voice of the Jasper evacuation. And thank you. Good work, Brandon. You've been doing a lot of good work, man. Doing a lot of good work. All of you have been. The voice of the evacuation, Brandon Houck, the voice of Brooks Radio, and Is that? Oh, Jenny Hagen was here, but I think she's gone now, so she took off. But there's Jenny Hagen, Storm Chaser as well. What a full show we had. What a great show.
That's the show.